Hey everybody, today we're going to go over some pushing, pulling, hinging, squatting, and core exercises. Okay, so starting with pushing, okay, we have the horizontal push, which is pushing straight out front. We have an incline press, and then we have an overhead press. We also have a decline press and a dip. Okay, so those are all the different types of pushing, whether it's a dip straight down, a decline, horizontal, incline, or overhead press. We have those many options to perform those tasks while we're performing our overhead or pushing exercises. Now we have our pull exercises. We can pull from overhead, we can pull at an incline, we can pull horizontally, and we can pull at a low angle, okay? We could even pull from the ground like a deadlift, okay? So we have different ways of pulling. We have horizontal one-arm rows, overhead rows, and then we have, overhead pull downs or lat pull downs if you can't perform a pull-up or a chin-up. For squatting, you have your two-legged squat, your split squat, you have a one-leg squat, and a skater squat. So the one-leg squat, you're gonna touch the butt to a box. The skater squat, you're gonna touch your knee to a pad behind you. Okay, so those are different types of squatting techniques. Some people will say that is a hinge, so you could add that as a hinge if you'd like, if you think that's more of a hinge exercise for the skater squat. You also have box step-ups for knee dominant exercises. Lunges be another knee dominant exercises, all emphasizing the quad. So anything that is knee dominant, like a squat, split squat, a one leg squat, a lunge, a step up would all be quad dominant exercises. Glute dominant would be our hinge exercises. So that would be our bilateral deadlift. Then we have our single leg, okay, with a little bit of assistance. Also unassisted straight leg reach, straight leg weight. You could also do two weights, one arm, okay, with straight back leg. Those are all different hamstring or hip dominant exercises. Hip lifts or leg curls using a slide board on your back. Those would be all things for your glutes as well and hamstrings. So you have your hip dominant and knee dominant exercises for lower body. You have your push and pull for upper body. For core exercises, you have anti-rotation extension and lateral flexion. So anti-rotation means that if I go to a hands and knees position, I bring my body off the ground, and my body doesn't sag, I'm able to keep that roundness. I'm able to do that in a plank position without sagging my hips. I'm able to hold here. This would be anti-extension. Anti-rotation would be hands and knees, tap one shoulder without rotating the hips. So trying to tap the shoulder without rotating those hips, that would be anti-rotation. Okay, and then anti-lateral flexion would be anything in a side plank position. Okay, either short or long lever side plank positions or one arm carries. So those would be the four different types of exercises for the lower and upper body, as well as core exercises as well. So we haven't talked about power or rotational core exercises in this video, but we're just going to go over some of those push-pull, core, and hinging exercises now and give you some examples. So I'm going to start someone with a push-up. I want to start with a hands elevated push-up. But first, can they hold this position in a straight line from head to heel? Then can they lower with control, tap the pad, and then extend the elbows? Okay, so lower, tap, and push away from the ground. Okay, if you're able to do that for 5 reps, that's great. We want to try to get to 10 reps before making our way to the ground. Once we get to the ground, same thing. We want to make sure our body is straight. If we're looking over top, our elbows make an arrow. We're not too wide, we're not too in. I'm gonna slowly lower, press off the ground. Okay. If a client has wrist issues or if that's too much weight, for example, if I'm 223 pounds and I'm unfit, that may hurt my wrist, or I might not have the capacity to do that. So I might start sewing off with a dumbbell press. Okay, with the dumbbell press, you're just going to get the weights from the rack. Try not to pick them off the ground if you're a new beginner. If you're advanced, you're going to slowly rock back. The elbows will stay positioned underneath the wrist and keep the wrist and elbow stacked as you slowly go back. Always starting with a really low weight first to get the form right. And then once we rock back, we're going to push as soon as we bring the head down and extend the elbows or push away from the bench here. And then we're going to slowly lower. Exhale as we drive those hands toward the ceiling. Slowly lower. Exhale, drive. The bells may touch the outside of the chest. Okay, so that's your dumbbell press. You can advance this by doing alternating dumbbell press, slow lower, press, slow lower, press, and then in phases 2 and 3, you can go a little faster with your dumbbell, but you have to have control of it first, okay? Then you would just re-rack these, and that would be your dumbbell press. Okay, for your incline press, as a beginner, you might want to only go to about the first level or second level, okay, 15 or 30 degrees. And then you're going to hike up the seat 1 or 2 levels, okay? Generally, you want to pick up the weights from the rack, okay? If you're advanced or if you don't have back pain, you can use those same weights. Same thing here. We're going to keep those elbows tucked in nice and close, touching the sides. Elbows in line, stacked with the wrist. Look straight ahead. Rock back. As soon as the head touches the pad, you should be pressed. Slow lower. Try not to let the lower back or ribs flare up. All right, same thing, you could alternate. That is the incline dumbbell press. Now, since we're here, so if you have some rotator cuff issues, or if you're trying to target the rear delts and the shoulders, set your bench on an incline. Rest your chest on the bench with your chin well over the top. And then from here, allow your arms to just relax. Tuck those toes into the ground. We're going to look about 2 feet in front of us. And then we're going to make a T with the weights. You should be able to hold it for 10 seconds. If not, the weight's too heavy. If your elbows are not straight, the weight is too heavy. And then relax. And we're going to go for 3 to 5 reps for 10 seconds. Just exhale, pure slips out the mouth as we're holding. Try not to flex or extend the neck. Just looking about 2 feet in front. We'll go one more. And then relax. Then we can have those bells facing up. We can go one at a time overhead and hold for about 2 seconds. Or you can challenge yourself with 5 seconds. Okay, and then you have the W here, again, holding for 2 to 5 seconds. Again, looking about 2 feet in front of us, going for about 2 to 5 reps. All right, so that's a nice little shoulder. If you like that, let me know. If you want more circuits like that for other exercises, let me know as well. I like to do that as an accessory set, a warm-up set, or during one of my last sets of my workout. If I feel like I need a little bit more of that post-delt activation, more of the engagement in the upper traps. Just a good overall exercise for the shoulders. Trying to pin those shoulders back a little bit. All right. So that might be a good one to do before or after your chest, before or after your lat workout, or good activation before doing any type of shoulder exercises. You can also take a band, spread it apart in this position, outward, and this way. Another good activation for the post delts. And you can do rear fly with your back straight like that, like real low weight, 3 to 8 pounds. All right, go for either high reps or high holds. Okay. For squatting and hinging. For squat, typically you want like a dumbbell or kettlebell. Start with goblet squats. Raise the heels if you need to and squat to a box. Touch and go. So just imagine I'm touching a box. My heels might be elevated if I need that. There's your goblet squat. You can do that assisted with a wall or some dowels. And then you have your split squat, up and down, like an elevator. This will be your progression for your goblet squat. It's going from bilateral, semi-unilateral, mainly on that front foot. Then we can work the frontal plane or lateral squat. It's moving out using the adductors instead of the quads. Okay, then you can stack this any way you want. 1 arm stack, 2 arm stack, overhead stack, and all those different squat patterns. You can hold those squat patterns as well at the bottom of the squats for 5 to 20 seconds. Okay, so those will be some squat techniques, knee dominant exercises. Okay, we also have any type of step ups or lunges, like I said as well. For hinging, you can use kettlebell in between your arches. Look straight ahead about 2 to 3 feet. Hold on the top of the bell. Stand up like you're being measured. And then slowly move down with your back straight in line. Looking about 2 to 3 feet ahead. And then straight at the wall when you stand up. Tap. And go. You need to put a mat on the ground. Tap the mat. A little bit higher surface. That might help. Then you have your single leg reach. You want to clear the can you touch your toes test first before the deadlift? So make sure that they can touch the toes. If not, you might want to do some leg lowers in place of your hinging, or some hip lifts on your back, one leg hip lifts to get the hamstrings going. Then you progress to the straight leg, one leg reach, do the static and dynamically while walking, and then you can move to your single leg deadlift. Okay, just a tap and go, back leg straight as possible, toe down, and then it's right up, control on the way down. Okay. Woo! Not as much balance on that right side. All right, so I could add 2 dumbbells to that and do that. Those would be my hinging exercises, my squat exercises. Showed you my rotator cuff. We didn't get the pull today. We went the press. So if you're doing pull, obviously pull-ups, pull-downs, W pull-downs with 2 cables, or cross cable X pull-down would be good starting points. Then eccentric pull-up, and then weighted pull-ups. Okay, 1 arm rows in the equation as well, making sure you're doing that once or twice a week. And any type of overhead pulling exercise at least once or twice a week as well. All right, bye. See you.